Today on the channel, we're going to be talking about my hottest film photography takes, and stick around to the end of the video to see my most nuclear radioactive take. So let's not waste any time. Hot film photography take number 1, Instax is garbage. I know, I can already hear the keyboards furiously typing with their responses to this take. Let's be honest, it's pretty trash. Just over a year ago, I made a video titled just that, Instax is trash. I actually might have titled it Instax sucks. In the process of making that video, I did some comparison shots between a Fuji Instax camera and my cell phone. And it should come as no surprise at this point that the cell phone absolutely obliterated the Instax camera in every way. And honestly, there wasn't even really a good film aesthetic with the Instax images. They were just too blurry, too messy. Not great at all. They were low resolution, low quality. Folks are gonna say, but it gives you this cute little printout. Well, I hope you wanted that cute little printout, because that's all the image is ever going to be. There's no blowing it up, there's no printing it out. So the image is strictly limited to that cute little printout that the camera gives you. The Instax film packs were $10 or $12 back when I was shooting them on that camera. So not even good value for money. And I think the most damning critique of Instax of all is when you compare it with 35mm film. We all love the wonderful colors that come from the Fuji films and the Kodak films and that beautiful film grain aesthetic. And despite the price increases from Kodak and Fuji, Instax is still much more expensive. A roll of Portra 400 is what, 18, 20 bucks? Really expensive, but compare that with the Instax 10 shots for $10. I mean, it's still a much better value. And after that, you're gonna get images that are much more usable, that you can do a lot more things with because they're just significantly higher quality. So all that's to say that Instax, Fuji Instax, don't like it. Didn't enjoy my time shooting Instax. I found the whole process to be very gimmicky and just not very functional. So Fuji Instax, not my favorite thing. This is a really spicy take. Coming close, coming close. Large format isn't worth the trouble. Yeah, you heard me right. And this may be a me thing, right? This may strictly be a me thing. But I have owned several Intrepid film cameras over the years, a number of lenses for these camera systems, and I just don't shoot them like I should. I have not yet been able to reliably integrate large format photography into my workflow. It is just too slow, it's too expensive, and I just can't get myself motivated to carry that huge camera out with me while I'm out shooting. So your miles may vary. That may be something you're super interested in, but at least at this point, I've owned these cameras for years. I've been using large format cameras for a really long time. So maybe in 5 years of owning large format cameras, I've taken 50 images. It just doesn't really seem to suit my shooting style. Your miles may vary, but that's where I'm at on it. So large format photography, I don't think it's worth the trouble. Especially when you compare it against something like medium format. 6x6, 6x7, 6x9 even. There are so many awesome medium format cameras that just clap when compared to large format. You're out there with a roll of 120 film, and depending on your format, 8 images, 12 images, 16 images, and you still get that really nice image quality. In fact, we have a word for it, that medium format look. To me, for my workflow, for my process, medium format seems to be that sweet spot where you get the image quality without a lot of the trade-offs that come from the much larger formats. So large format photography, at least for me, not that great. Another really spicy take here, and this is coming from somebody who just bought a Leica M6, so I want you to just take this with a grain of salt. But I think for most professional uses, 35mm film isn't good enough. I can't tell you how many times I've been out taking a landscape shot and I'm using good film, right? I'm using Velvia, I'm using Portra 160, stuff that should be super clean, Ektar 100. Super excited to get the images back from the lab, and they're just not that clean. You open the image files up on your computer, and there's just not that much detail there. And again, I guess this critique, and again, I guess this portion of the video, coupled with the last portion of the video where I was talking about large format, it kind of points towards medium format being the sweet spot, being the film format that I'm the most satisfied with. But I love 35mm for capturing day-to-day moments. They make really good Instagram posts, Facebook pictures. But as I start to compile images for a potential photo book or look at images to print off and put on my wall, I just find that 35mm isn't good enough. There's not enough there. So 35mm definitely got its uses, but if you're wanting to print an image big to put on your wall in your office, probably not the format to go with. The film photography police are probably going to make me delete my channel for this one, but Portra 160. I don't know if you guys know this, but think it's probably better than 400. So yeah, when I circled back into film photography this go around, I was presented with a limited range of options of films that were available. And most things were sold out at most major online retailers. And I mean, I watch the same YouTubers you guys do, and everybody's pumping out Portra 400 video after Portra 400 video. Well, just between me and you, the crap wasn't available for a really long time. But at the time, Portra 160 was. So I ended up buying tons of Portra 160 and shooting the heck out of it. And as I shot Portra 160, I thought, man, this stuff is really good. It looks fantastic. I can't imagine how much better Portra 400 was. Well, it wasn't until a trip that I took to Colorado over the last year that I actually did get around to shooting some Portra 400 in pretty significant quantities. And I have to say that 160 is every bit as good as 400 and maybe better per Kodak's data sheets, and we talked a little bit about this in another video, but Portra 160 is sharper, it's cleaner, it prints bigger. And as primarily a landscape photographer, I do most of my work on a tripod, so I would rather have the cleaner image than the extra speed that comes along with Portra 400. And to me, the colors are mostly a push. So Portra 160, if you're in the weird spot that I was and you can't find Portra 400, just know Portra 160 goes hard. I don't know how hot of a take this is. This is kind of a mid-hot take. Lomochrome purple, I think it's all right. There's been a lot of videos made and a lot of words said about Lomography's Lomochrome purple film, and I know it's gimmicky. I know it's kind of a cliche at this point, but every time I shoot Lomochrome purple, I just think, man, this crap looks cool. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe that's my amateur brain coming through, but I shot a roll of this in Knoxville last year, and man, I thought the images were super, super cool. If those same images had been taken on Portra 400, I don't think I would have locked them as good. Really, really cool shots, and I really enjoy the stuff. So if any of you guys out there get the opportunity to shoot Lomochrome purple, give it a go. You may like it. I think the stuff's pretty cool. I think this is something that maybe you could have detected. If you were to look at my YouTube videos, go to my Instagram and see the little video clips that I've made. I don't really like black and white. And maybe that's just because I'm a bad photographer. Totally concede that. Maybe I'm a bad photographer and I'm not good enough to appreciate black and white. I really, really love color photography. I love to see the rich, saturated colors. I don't think in terms of black and white. I see a woman in a beautiful dress. I see a colorful sports car. I see a wonderful budding flower. I just can't fathom the things that I typically like to shoot in black and white. Like, I think in terms of color. Maybe that's something I need to work on. That probably is something I need to work on. But I think you could tell by looking at my channel, I don't shoot a lot of black and white photography. I want to, but I don't. And I think that's because I don't really like it. I think it's because I just innately don't really like. I don't even seek the content out. I just don't really like black and white. But we're gonna do better, right? We're gonna try some black and white this year. That's our goal, and you're gonna hold me to that. All right, guys, here's another pretty hot take. And we touched on this in another video, but it's that I think film photographers overuse cliches. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happens to the film photographer brain when a roll of Portra goes in their camera. But whenever a roll of Portra goes in somebody's camera, it's like, I can only take pictures of gas stations, dilapidated buildings, and old cars. That's it. It's like nothing else matters. This is everybody on, and just being honest, this is most people on YouTube, right? They put film in their camera and it's like, nope, I'm not gonna do architecture, I'm not gonna do landscapes, I'm not gonna do environmental portraiture. Old crap, that's what we're doing. It's gotta be old cars, gas stations, and dilapidated buildings. It's the only things we can shoot. I don't want to be hypocritical. I want to be even-handed here. I'm certainly guilty of this as well. I'm in Eastern Kentucky. We got buildings falling apart all over the place, right? That's just a pet peeve of mine, and I'm certainly guilty of it as well. I can't resist the allure of a vintage neon sign either. Love the stuff, especially on like Cinestill. But as film photographers, I can't say that I completely understand it, but for some reason, film goes in the camera gets pointed at old stuff. I don't know why that is, but I think that we could all do a little better to be cognizant of that. Approximately 1,000 people had a salty comment when I made that point in the last video, so I'm sure we'll get 1,000 more. And here we are, the hottest of hot takes, right? I must confess to you here on Overexposed, I'm not an ultra high volume film shooter, right? I'm lucky to shoot a roll a week, probably average a half a roll a week, right? I'm not tearing through film like a wild man. I don't have that many remarkable, I work a job, right? Like, I don't have that many remarkable moments that happen in my life that I deem to be worth capturing. So it hasn't really impacted me all that much. I'm shooting film at about exactly the same rate I always have been, which is as much as possible. A few bucks more per roll, doesn't really bother me all that much. I mean, if you're one of these guys out there shooting 4, 5, 6 rolls a week, I imagine the price increases are debilitating. But at least for me, I'm not able to shoot that much, and I have digital cam. I'm not going out to shoot my weddings with film. I'm not going out to shoot senior photos with film. I'm not doing prom photos with film. In large part, I'm using my digital cameras as well, as much as I can to supplement. So the film photography, mainly personal work, family stuff, landscape stuff. But at least for me, I don't think the price increases were that bad. Your miles may vary. All right, guys, so those are some of my hottest film photography takes. Let's remember, opinions are like snowflakes. Each one is different. But if you like this video, check out this video where I talk about the Kodak film that killed thousands of people. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, try to be nice. If at the end of the video here, you still think, hey, despite all these terrible opinions, this guy's all right, you could think about subscribing. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.